Simulating the Simpsons paradox, and I don't mean Bart, Lisa, or any of the numbered versions of Snowball the cat. Turns out there's an interesting aspect to statistics that sometimes will be counterintuitive. Looky here, we have some scores, maybe for the females or finance majors, maybe for the males or marketing majors. And the F's did worse than the M's. But when you aggregate them using a weighted average, it flips the order. What's going on? Well, if you look closely, the action is not in the numbers, but in the weightings, the proportions, if you will. And you would take the fraction of each, adding to 100%, and proportionally weight them. Here, let me show you. A weighting is merely just adding up all the various components, numbers, even could be dollar amounts in a portfolio, and dividing that back into each one of them. And you can think about it, it always has to add to 1. Then you take each one of those weightings, proportions if you will, time their respective score, performance, whatever, and add them up. Well, that seems pretty obvious, and gee, how can the order flip? Let's go back and look. Notice the action is that the weightings are profoundly different between the two groupings. And I thought to myself, that's kind of interesting. How rare is it? So, well, I tried a Excel program, and everything's laid out the same, and didn't occur too often. So I wrote a basic program and had the weightings, say, go between 20 and 80%. That seemed reasonable. And I had scores, like, say, for students on an exam, go from 60 to 100. And here's the result. Turns out, only about 1% of the time did you get a flip in the rankings. And if you consider it, if we had done these, say, with portfolio returns, it'd be the same set of numbers, except we can, say, move the decimal point over one place. Meaning we have two portfolio managers, A and B, and one owns, say, now Ford and Mercedes, and Ford and Mercedes had 6 and 7%, respectively 4 and 5% in each. But when aggregated, the performance of the investments flipped. Ain't that something with Dr. C Invests?